multi-billion-dollar CEO powerless against her screaming baby at 30,000 feet. First-class passengers glaring like vultures. Then a stranger from economy does the unthinkable, and the entire cabin goes silent. What happened next didn't just calm a child. It shattered a woman who thought she needed no one and built a family from the wreckage of pride. But before I tell you how a single flight changed everything, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Your baby is ruining this flight for everyone. Serena Callahan looked up from her screaming son and found a man in a $2,000 suit staring down at her with pure hatred. His breath reeked of whiskey. His eyes held nothing but contempt. She wanted to destroy him, wanted to remind him she was Serena Callahan, the woman Forbes called the Ice Queen of Wall Street, the CEO who'd built a financial empire from nothing, the woman who didn't answer to anyone, but all that came out was, "I'm sorry, I'm trying." God, she hated how broken her voice sounded. Henry screamed louder, his tiny face purple with rage. Serena bounced him against her shoulder the way the pediatrician showed her. Nothing worked. The baby book said babies cried for a reason, but Henry had been fed changed and should have been exhausted. Yet he wailed like the world was ending. And Serena felt her control slipping with every shriek. "Some of us have actual important meetings tomorrow." Whiskey breath continued loud enough for everyone to hear. "Maybe you should have stayed home." A woman across the aisle nodded, diamond earrings catching the overhead light. "There are standards in first class. Expectations." Standards. The word made Serena's jaw clench. She'd paid triple for these seats. Her company's stock had jumped 12% this quarter. She'd earned every right to sit here. But Henry didn't care about stock prices or quarterly earnings. He just cried and cried and cried. "Ma'am?" A flight attendant appeared, smile tight. "Some passengers are expressing concerns about the noise level." Corporate speak for complaining. Serena knew that language cold. "I'm handling it," she said, but even she heard the lie. She wasn't handling anything. She was drowning, and everyone in first class watched her go under without offering a hand. Henry hit a new pitch that made Serena's temples throb. She'd negotiated with billionaires, stared down hostile takeovers, fired executives without blinking, but she couldn't calm a 7-month-old baby. "Perhaps the lavatory," the attendant suggested. "Sometimes a change of scenery." "I've tried that. I've tried everything." Truth was, Serena had been trying everything for 7 months. Ever since the nanny quit citing philosophical differences about her work schedule. Ever since her mother said she was too old to help. Ever since Serena realized all the money in the world couldn't buy an instruction manual for keeping a tiny human alive. She rocked Henry harder, whispered meaningless sounds, felt sweat gathering under her silk blouse. Around her first class radiated disapproval like heat. These were her people, the elite, the successful. But tonight they looked at her like hired help who'd forgotten her place. Then Whiskey Breath stood up. "I'm calling the captain," he announced. "This is unacceptable. She needs to be removed from first class immediately." Serena's heart stopped. "You can't watch me." He reached for the call button. "Sir, please sit down," the attendant started. "No, I paid good money for peace and quiet, and I'm getting what I paid for." Other passengers murmured agreement. The woman with diamond earrings pulled out her phone. "I'm tweeting about this. Unbelievable service." Serena felt tears burning behind her eyes. She never cried. The Ice Queen didn't break. But Henry screamed and screamed, and she was about to be humiliated in front of everyone who mattered, and she couldn't stop any of it. "Excuse me." The voice came from behind, quiet, steady, calm. Serena turned and found a man standing in the aisle. He didn't belong in first class. Worn jeans, faded flannel over a t-shirt, work boots scuffed at the toes. He looked like someone who used his hands for a living, but his eyes stopped her cold, clear, kind, unafraid. "I'm Nathan," he said quietly. May I try something? Serena's instinct screamed no. She didn't accept help, didn't show weakness, the Ice Queen didn't melt. But Henry screamed again, and something in Serena shattered. What? Her voice came out sharp. What could you possibly do? Nathan didn't flinch. I raised a daughter alone from 6 months. Sometimes babies just need a different heartbeat. The flight attendant stepped forward. Sir, return to your seat. Please. The word ripped out of Serena before she could stop it. Please just let him try. Whiskey Breath laughed. Oh, this should be good. Let the economy passenger play hero. Nathan ignored him completely. May I? He asked Serena, holding out his hands. Every instinct screamed at her to refuse. She didn't hand her baby to strangers, didn't trust anyone with what mattered most. But Henry's cries were getting weaker now, exhausted and desperate, and she couldn't watch him suffer anymore. She placed Henry in Nathan's arms. The change was immediate. Nathan held the baby against his chest, one large hand supporting Henry's head, the other firm against his back. He started swaying, gentle, rhythmic, like breathing. Then he began to hum, low and soft, some melody Serena didn't recognize, but that sounded ancient and sad and beautiful. Henry's cries stuttered, paused, started again, but quieter. Nathan kept swaying, kept humming. The cabin fell silent around them. Whiskey Breath stopped complaining. Diamond Earrings stopped tweeting. Even the flight attendant stood frozen. 3 minutes later, Henry was asleep. The silence felt louder than the crying. Serena stared at her son's peaceful face, at this stranger holding him like something precious, and felt her chest crack open. How? She started. Nathan shook his head gently. No magic, just patience, and an old Irish lullaby my grandmother taught me. He moved carefully, settling into the empty seat beside Serena without jostling Henry. The flight attendant disappeared, then returned with a young girl, maybe 8. Dark curls, Nathan's same steady eyes. Dad, the girl whispered, you made the baby stop. Just helping Astrid. Nathan smiled at his daughter. Take my seat up here, okay? The flight attendant nodded. I insist. Both of you stay in first class. It's the least we can do. Astrid's eyes went wide. Really? The girl settled into the seat across the aisle, grinning like Christmas morning. Nathan returned his attention to Henry sleeping against his chest. Serena could only stare. Her throat felt too tight for words. She watched Nathan adjust his hold slightly, watched him continue that gentle swaying like it was the most natural thing in the world, and felt everything she thought she knew begin to crack. Thank you, she finally whispered. I don't know what else to say. Nathan met her eyes. You looked like you needed help. I know what it's like to be alone with a baby who won't stop crying. It's the loneliest feeling in the world. The words hit like a punch to the gut. Serena thought about her penthouse apartment overlooking Manhattan, the silence that filled those rooms except for Henry's cries, how many people she employed, how many calls she fielded daily, how connected she supposedly was. Nathan was right. She was completely, utterly alone. How old is your daughter? She asked, desperate to fill the silence. 8. Born 6 months before my wife died. Nathan's voice stayed steady, but Serena heard the weight underneath. Firefighter like me, training accident. So it's been me and Astrid figuring things out ever since. I'm so sorry. Thank you. It gets easier, but it never really gets easy. He glanced down at Henry. This your first and only the father. Serena stopped. She never talked about Marcus, never mentioned the venture capitalist who'd seemed perfect until the pregnancy test came back positive and he'd suggested she handle it. Never spoke about watching him walk away without looking back. You don't have to explain, Nathan said quietly. Single Parent Club doesn't require an entry essay. Something in Serena's chest loosened. Is it always this hard? The crying gets better, the rest. Nathan smiled, sad and knowing. You learn to ask for help. That's the secret nobody tells you. All those parenting books act like you should do it alone. But humans weren't meant to raise babies solo. We need a village. I don't have a village. I have a board of directors and a personal assistant. Well, now you know someone who can calm a screaming baby. That's a start. The plane hit turbulence, a gentle bump. Astrid giggled across the aisle. Nathan adjusted his hold on Henry, automatically keeping the baby secure without waking him. Serena watched the easy competence and felt envy twist in her stomach. How do you make it look so natural? She asked. Practice. Lots of mistakes. Astrid cried for 3 months straight when she was little. I thought I was losing my mind. Called the pediatrician so many times they recognized my voice. Nathan's smile turned self-deprecating. But you figure it out. You learn what works for your kid, and you accept that sometimes they're just going to cry, and all you can do is be there until they're done. I'm not good at accepting things I can't control. Yeah, I got that impression. The comment should have stung, but Nathan's tone held no judgment, just simple observation. Serena found herself smiling despite everything. That obvious, you've got executive written all over you, the suit, the phone you keep checking even though it's supposed to be on airplane mode, the way you're used to people jumping when you speak. Nathan shifted Henry slightly. But babies don't care about any of that. They just need you present. Actually, they're not thinking about tomorrow's meeting. The words landed like an accusation, because he was right. Even now, with Henry finally sleeping, Serena's mind kept drifting to the presentation tomorrow. The investors she needed to impress, the deal that could make or break next quarter. I'm a terrible mother, she said quietly. Hey, no. Nathan's response came sharp and immediate. You're on a plane alone with a baby. You're trying. That makes you a good mother. Don't let anyone tell you different, including yourself. Serena blinked against sudden tears. When was the last time someone had defended her instead of demanding more? When had anyone looked at her struggle and called it trying instead of failing? I'm Serena, she said, realizing she'd never introduced herself. Serena Callahan. Recognition flashed in Nathan's eyes. Callahan Capital. You're that Serena Callahan, the Ice Queen. She winced. You've heard the nickname. Hard not to. We get called to office buildings sometimes. Your company's name comes up a lot, usually followed by ruthless and brilliant. Nathan looked at her thoughtfully. But I'm guessing the people using those words haven't seen you fight for 20 minutes to calm your crying baby. Better for my reputation if they don't. Better for your soul if they do. The observation hung between them. Too honest for first meetings, too true to dismiss. Serena looked at Henry sleeping in this stranger's arms and felt her carefully constructed world tilting sideways. Whiskey breath across the aisle cleared his throat. Loudly, pointedly. Nathan glanced at him, then back at Serena. Want me to hand him back? I can teach you the swaying thing. It's all in the knees. You mimic the movement from when he was in the womb. Could you... Serena stopped hating herself for asking. Could you just hold him a little longer? I need to breathe. As long as you need. Serena closed her eyes and took the first full breath she'd managed in hours. Around her, the cabin returned to normal rhythm. Laptop keyboards clicking, ice settling in glasses, low murmur of business calls. This was her world. High-altitude deal-making. Problem solved with money and strategy and force of will. But none of it had helped tonight. It took a firefighter in worn jeans to give her 5 minutes of peace. Astrid seems like a good kid, Serena said, opening her eyes. You're doing something right. She's better than I deserve, smart as hell. Wants to be an astronaut 1 week, a veterinarian the next. Pride warmed Nathan's voice. Teachers love her because she actually listens, unlike her father at that age. What did you want to be when you were 8? A firefighter, same as my dad. Not very original. Nathan smiled, but I loved it. Had to take a desk job after Astrid came along. Couldn't risk leaving her alone if something happened on a call. That must have been hard, giving up something you loved. Being someone's parent means making hard choices. You give up the dangerous stuff, the selfish stuff, the things that matter less than they do. Nathan looked down at Henry. But you gain something better, someone who needs you, someone you'd burn the world down to protect. Serena thought about Marcus walking away, about her mother saying she couldn't help because she had bridge club, about every person who'd made her feel like having Henry was an inconvenience instead of a miracle. Not everyone feels that way, she said quietly. Then they're not really parents, just people who happen to have kids. The simplicity of the statement made something ache in Serena's chest. She'd spent 7 months trying to do everything perfectly, reading every book, buying every gadget, maintaining control like she controlled her company, but perfection was just another word for loneliness when there was no one to share the imperfect moments with. The flight attendant appeared with drinks. Complimentary for our heroes. What can I get you? Nathan ordered water. Serena asked for whiskey, then felt embarrassed when Nathan raised an eyebrow. Rough day, he asked. Rough 7 months. Fair enough. They sat in comfortable silence. Serena sipped her whiskey, felt it burn down her throat. Beside her, Nathan swayed gently, with Henry still asleep, humming that Irish lullaby so quietly she almost couldn't hear it. What's the song called? She asked. Tu-ra-lu, ra-lu-ral. My grandmother used to sing it to me when I was small, said her mother sang it in the old country. Nathan's voice carried across years, across oceans. When Astrid wouldn't sleep, it was the only thing that worked. Something in the melody says, "You're safe, you're loved, you can rest now." Could you teach me? Of course. Nathan sang it softly, words sliding together in a language Serena didn't understand, but that sounded like home anyway. She listened, memorized, felt tears prick her eyes. When was the last time someone had taught her something gentle? When had anyone shown her how to be soft? Tu-ra-lu-ra-lu-ral, she repeated, mangling the pronunciation. Close, the lu is longer, like this. Nathan demonstrated patience as a saint until Serena got it right. They practiced until she could stumble through the whole song, until Astrid looked up from her book and smiled, until Whiskey Breath actually fell asleep and started snoring. The plane climbed through dark clouds. Serena felt something shift inside her, something that had been frozen, beginning to thaw. "Thank you," she said again, "for everything. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't helped." "You would have figured it out. You strike me as someone who always figures it out." "Not with this. With Henry, I'm lost most of the time. I keep waiting to feel like I know what I'm doing. It never happens." Nathan met her eyes. "Can I tell you a secret? Nobody knows what they're doing. We're all just pretending and hoping we don't screw up too badly. Parents who act like they have it figured out are the biggest liars of all." "That's supposed to make me feel better. It's supposed to make you feel less alone." And somehow, impossibly, it did. The captain's voice crackled over the intercom. "Folks, we're approaching some weather. Going to be a rough patch ahead. Flight attendants, please take your seats." Serena's stomach dropped. She hated turbulence, hated feeling out of control at 30,000 feet with nowhere to run. "You okay?" Nathan asked, reading her face. "I'm fine. You're white as a sheet." The plane shuddered, dropped. Serena's hands gripped the armrests hard enough to hurt. Across the aisle, Astrid looked up from her book, eyes wide. "Dad." "We're okay, sweetheart. Just some bumps." But the bumps got worse. The plane bucked like a living thing. Overhead bins rattled. Someone screamed. The lights flickered once, twice, then steadied. Henry woke up crying. Serena reached for him instinctively, but her hands were shaking too hard. Nathan passed the baby over carefully, one hand steadying her trembling fingers. "Look at me," he said, voice cutting through her panic. "Serena, look at me." She met his eyes. "Breathe. In through your nose, out through your mouth." The plane dropped again. Serena gasped, clutching Henry too tight. The baby screamed louder. "You're scaring him," Nathan said gently. "He feels what you feel. Breathe first, then calm him." "I can't." "Yes, you can. Nathan's hand covered hers, warm and steady. In through your nose. Come on, with me. He breathed in slowly. Serena tried to match him, failed, tried again. The plane shook violently. Again, Nathan said, in, out, there you go. Gradually, Serena's breathing steadied. Her grip on Henry loosened slightly. The baby's cries softened from panicked to merely upset. Good, Nathan said. Now sing to him. What? The lullaby. Sing it. I can't remember. Yes, you can. To-ra-loo-ra-loo-ral. Come on. The plane bucked again, but Serena started singing. Her voice shook. She forgot half the words, but she sang anyway, and Henry's cries quieted to whimpers. Across the aisle, Astrid started humming along. Her child's voice cut through the chaos like a knife through butter. The turbulence didn't stop, but somehow, surrounded by Nathan's steady presence and Astrid's sweet humming and Henry's gradually calming breaths, Serena found herself anchoring. She sang louder, clearer, and slowly, impossibly, Henry fell back asleep. The storm passed 5 minutes later. The captain came back on. Sorry about that, folks. Should be smooth sailing from here to New York. Serena sat trembling Henry, asleep in her arms, and realized something had just happened. Something bigger than calming a baby during turbulence. She'd learned to ask for help, and it had saved her. Nathan was watching her with those steady, kind eyes. You did good. I panicked. Then you sang anyway. That's what matters. Serena looked down at her sleeping son, at the man beside her who'd shown her more kindness in one flight than most people showed in a lifetime, at the little girl across the aisle now going back to her book, like nothing extraordinary had happened. Can I ask you something? Serena said quietly. How do you do it? Stay so calm when everything's falling apart. Nathan was quiet for a moment. You want the real answer? Please. I don't. I fall apart all the time, usually at 2 a.m., when Astrid's asleep and I'm alone with my thoughts. He glanced at his daughter, then back at Serena. But when someone needs me, I have to be steady, not because I'm brave, because I'm all they've got. That's terrifying. Yeah, it is, but it's also the most important thing I've ever done. The plane began its descent into New York. The city lights appeared below 1,000 tiny stars against the darkness. Serena felt something shift in her chest, some decision she didn't know she was making until it was already made. Could I? She started, then stopped. This was insane. She didn't do this. Didn't ask strangers for personal information. Didn't let people into her carefully controlled world. But Nathan wasn't looking at her like she was the Ice Queen. He was looking at her like she was human. Could I get your number? She finished, in case I need advice about the baby. Nathan smiled. Sure, but fair warning, I'm terrible at texting. I still use punctuation like an old man. I can live with that. They exchanged numbers as the plane touched down. Smooth landing, perfect. The cabin erupted in relieved applause. Whiskey Breath woke up with a snort, looked around confused, then had the grace to look embarrassed when he saw Henry sleeping peacefully in Serena's arms. The seatbelt sign dinged off. People stood grabbing bags from overhead bins. The organized chaos of deplaning began. Nathan gathered Astrid's things, helped her with her backpack, then turned to Serena one last time. You're going to be okay, he said. Both of you. How do you know? Because you love him enough to be terrified. That's what good mothers do. Serena felt tears burning again. Thank you, Nathan, for everything. Any time, I mean that. He and Astrid moved toward the exit. At the doorway, the little girl turned back and waved. Serena waved back, Henry still sleeping against her shoulder. Then they were gone. The cabin suddenly felt very empty. Serena sat there for a moment, holding her son, feeling the warmth where Nathan had been sitting gradually fade. She looked at her phone, saw 17 missed calls from her office, 23 emails marked urgent, and for the first time in her entire career, she didn't care. She had Nathan's number in her phone, had an Irish lullaby in her head, had the memory of someone showing her kindness when she'd needed it most. That felt more valuable than any deal she'd ever closed. As Serena walked off the plane, Henry stirred but didn't wake. She hummed the lullaby, softly stumbling over the words, but getting the melody right. The flight attendant smiled at her. "You're a natural." Serena smiled back. "I'm learning." Outside the airport, New York stretched before her, cold and bright and full of a million things demanding her attention. But Serena wasn't thinking about meetings or deals or quarterly earnings. She was thinking about a firefighter in worn jeans who'd shown her that strength wasn't about control. It was about knowing when to let someone else hold you steady. And as she climbed into the car service waiting at the curb, Serena Callahan made a decision. Tomorrow she'd call Nathan, maybe invite him and Astrid for coffee. Nothing weird, just thank you properly. Because something told her this wasn't over. The flight had ended, but something much bigger was just beginning. 3 days later, Serena stood in her penthouse kitchen at 2 a.m., bouncing Henry and trying not to cry. The baby had been screaming for 45 minutes. Nothing worked. Not the bouncing, not the shushing, not walking in circles until her feet ached. She'd tried everything she could remember from that flight. The swaying, the humming, but her voice cracked on the lullaby and Henry just cried harder. Her phone sat on the counter, Nathan's number glowing in her recent contacts. She'd saved it under Nathan, flight hero, like some kind of pathetic groupie. Serena reached for the phone 3 times, put it down 3 times. She didn't call people for help. She solved her own problems. That's what made her successful. That's what built her empire. But Henry screamed, and Serena felt something inside her breaking. She picked up the phone, dialed. It rang twice before a groggy voice answered. "Hello." "I'm sorry," Serena said immediately. "I shouldn't have called. I know it's late. Serena." Nathan's voice cleared instantly. "What's wrong? Is Henry okay?" "He won't stop crying. I've tried everything. The swaying, the song. I even looked up videos on YouTube and nothing's working and I don't know what to do." "Hey, slow down, breathe. Is he sick? Does he have a fever?" Serena pressed her hand to Henry's forehead. "No, I don't think so. He feels normal. He's just screaming and I can't make it stop." "Okay, when did he last eat?" 2 hours ago, full bottle. Diaper changed 15 minutes ago. "And you've tried the swaying?" "Yes, it's not working. Nothing's working. I'm a terrible mother and I don't know what I'm doing and—" "Stop!" Nathan's voice cut through her spiral. "You're not terrible. You're exhausted and scared and that's normal. Now listen to me. Put me on speaker." Serena fumbled with the phone, nearly dropping it. "Okay, you're on speaker." "Good. Now I'm going to sing the lullaby. You're going to sway exactly like I showed you on the plane, knees bent slightly. Gentle rhythm. Can you do that?" "I think so." "You can. Start swaying." Serena bent her knees and started the gentle back and forth motion. Her arms ached from holding Henry, but she kept moving. Nathan's voice came through the speaker singing that Irish lullaby, low and steady. "Tooraloo-raloo-ral, tooraloo-rally." Henry's cries stuttered. "Keep going," Nathan said between verses. "Don't stop the motion. He's listening." Serena swayed harder, and Nathan kept singing, and gradually, impossibly, Henry's screams softened to whimpers. "Now you sing," Nathan said, "with me this time. I can't remember all the words. Doesn't matter, he doesn't know Irish, just the melody. Come on." Serena's voice shook, but she sang anyway. Nathan's voice underneath hers, steady and sure, carrying her through the parts she forgot. 5 minutes later, Henry was asleep. Serena stood frozen in her kitchen, afraid to move, afraid to breathe, afraid to do anything that might wake him. "You still there?" Nathan asked quietly. "Yeah, he's asleep." "Oh my God, he's actually asleep." "Good. Now very carefully put him down in his crib. Keep your hand on his chest for a minute so he knows you're there." Serena walked to the nursery like she was carrying a live bomb, lowered Henry into the crib with excruciating slowness, kept her hand on his tiny chest, feeling it rise and fall. "Okay," she whispered into the phone. "He's down. Stay there for another minute. Let him settle into deep sleep." Serena stood there, hand on her son phone pressed to her ear, and felt tears streaming down her face. "Thank you," she whispered. "Nathan, I'm so sorry I woke you. I just didn't know what else to do. Don't apologize. This is what the Single Parent Club does. We help each other at 2 a.m. when everything feels impossible. Does it get easier? Eventually, but there'll always be nights like this. The trick is knowing you don't have to face them alone. Serena pulled her hand away slowly. Henry didn't stir. She backed out of the nursery phone still pressed to her ear and collapsed onto her couch. I can't keep calling you in the middle of the night, she said. Why not? Because that's not fair to you. You barely know me. I know you're trying your best. I know you love your kid enough to call a stranger for help. That's all I need to know. Nathan paused. Besides Astrid's at her grandmother's this week, I was just lying in bed staring at the ceiling anyway. Still, I feel like I'm taking advantage. Serena, stop. You want to return the favor? Next time I need someone to explain hostile takeovers or whatever you COs do, I'll call you. Despite everything, Serena laughed. It came out watery and broken, but it was real. Deal. They sat in silence for a moment. Comfortable. Easy. Can I ask you something? Serena said finally. Shoot. How did you do this alone when Astrid was a baby and your wife was gone and you had no idea what you were doing? Nathan was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice carried weight. Honestly, I didn't do it alone. I had my parents, had the guys at the firehouse, had neighbors who heard Astrid crying through the walls and showed up with casseroles and advice. He paused. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're not supposed to do this solo. Nobody is. I don't have neighbors who bring casseroles. No, but you've got my number, and I'm guessing if you actually asked, you'd find more people willing to help than you think. Serena thought about her assistant Marcus, who'd asked twice if she needed anything for the baby, and she'd waved him off. Thought about her COO Jennifer, who'd mentioned her sister ran a nanny agency. Thought about all the offers of help she'd refused because accepting them felt like admitting weakness. I'm not good at asking for help, she admitted. Yeah, I noticed. But here's the thing, being a parent means getting good at things you suck at. Fast. That's a terrifying thought. Welcome to parenthood. It's all terrifying, but you figure it out. Serena pulled a blanket over herself, suddenly exhausted. Can I ask you something else? You're full of questions tonight. Do you ever feel like you're failing, like everyone else has it together and you're just faking your way through every single day? The answer was so immediate, so honest, that Serena felt something loosen in her chest. Really? Really? Last week, Astrid asked me to help with her math homework, and I had to Google how to do long division. I'm a 36-year-old man who forgot basic arithmetic. Nathan laughed. And don't even get me started on the time I tried to braid her hair for picture day. Looked like a bird's nest. She cried. I cried. We both showed up looking like disasters. But you seem so calm, so capable. That's just practice. Inside, I'm panicking half the time, but I can't let Astrid see that, so I fake it. And eventually, the faking becomes real, sort of. Serena felt tears burning again. I don't know how to fake it. Everyone at work thinks I have my life together, and then I come home and fall apart. So stop pretending at work. Let people see you're human. I can't do that. They'd lose respect for me. Would they? Or would they respect you more for being real? The question hung in the air. Serena didn't have an answer. Listen, Nathan said gently. I'm not trying to tell you how to run your life, but from where I'm sitting, you're doing an impossible job running a company and raising a baby alone and beating yourself up for not being perfect at both. That's not sustainable. What's the alternative? Accept that you're going to mess up sometimes. Ask for help when you need it. And stop measuring yourself against some imaginary standard of perfection that doesn't exist. Serena closed her eyes. You make it sound so simple. It's not simple. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it's necessary. They talked for another hour, about nothing important, about everything. Nathan told her about Astrid's obsession with dinosaurs and the school science fair coming up. Serena told him about the deal she was closing next week and how terrified she was of screwing it up. Eventually, Nathan yawned. I should let you sleep. Thank you again for everything. Anytime. I mean that, Serena. You can call whenever you need to, even at 2 a.m., especially at 2 a.m. That's when parents need backup the most. After they hung up, Serena sat in the darkness of her living room and felt something shifting inside her. Some wall she'd built brick by brick starting to crack. She pulled out her phone and typed a text before she could talk herself out of it. Coffee this week. Want to thank you properly. And Astrid, too. The response came 2 minutes later. Astrid would love that. Fair warning, though, she'll talk your ear off about pterodactyls. Serena smiled at her phone like an idiot. I can handle pterodactyls. We'll see about that. Friday work. There's a place near Central Park that makes hot chocolate Astrid likes. Friday's perfect. Send me the address. Serena put her phone down and realized she was smiling, actually smiling, at 3 a.m. after the worst night she'd had in weeks. Something was definitely changing. Friday afternoon, Serena stood outside a small cafe near Central Park and second-guessed everything. This was insane. She didn't do casual coffee with strangers. She did business lunches with agendas and talking points. She prepared. She controlled the conversation, but there was no controlling this. She was about to have hot chocolate with a firefighter and his 8-year-old daughter, and she had no idea what to talk about. Serena! She turned and found Nathan walking toward her, Astrid skipping at his side. The girl wore a purple jacket covered in dinosaur patches and light-up sneakers that flashed with every step. You came, Nathan said, smiling. I said I would. Yeah, but I wasn't sure you'd actually show up. Figured you might come to your senses and realize having coffee with random people from airplanes is weird. It is weird. I'm doing it anyway. Astrid tugged on Nathan's sleeve. Dad, is this the lady with the crying baby? Astrid. Nathan started, but Serena laughed. Yeah, that's me, the lady whose baby wouldn't stop crying. Astrid looked up at her seriously. My dad said you were very brave, and that Henry is lucky to have you. Serena's throat went tight. Your dad is very kind. He's the best dad in the world. Astrid stated it like an undeniable fact. Can we get hot chocolate now? They have the ones with the tiny marshmallows. Inside the cafe was warm and crowded. They found a table by the window. Astrid ordered hot chocolate with extra marshmallows. Nathan got coffee. Serena ordered the same, then realized she had no idea what to say. Astrid saved her. Do you like dinosaurs? The girl asked, pulling out a battered notebook covered in sketches. I don't know much about them, Serena admitted. That's okay, I can teach you. See, this is a pterodactyl, but technically it's not a dinosaur because it's a flying reptile. And this is a T-Rex, which everyone knows about. But did you know they probably had feathers? For the next 20 minutes, Astrid explained dinosaurs with the intensity of a college professor. Serena listened, asked questions, and watched Nathan watching his daughter with pure love in his eyes. Astrid let Serena drink her coffee, Nathan said eventually. It's fine, Serena said. This is actually fascinating. I had no idea there were so many different types. Astrid beamed. Most people don't care about dinosaurs. They say it's just a phase. Well, I think it's smart to be passionate about something, even if other people don't understand it. The girl looked at her with new respect. You're nice. My dad said you were nice. Your dad talks about me. Nathan's ears went red. Astrid, he said you were scared on the plane, but you sang anyway, and that's the bravest kind of brave. Serena looked at Nathan, who was suddenly very interested in his coffee. Your dad's pretty brave too, she said to Astrid. Not everyone would help a stranger's crying baby. Dad helps everyone. Last week he stopped to help a lady change her tire even though we were late for my soccer game. We made it to the game, Nathan protested. We missed warm-ups. You hate warm-ups. That's not the point, Dad. Watching them bicker easy and comfortable and full of love made something ache in Serena's chest. This was what family looked like. Not perfect, not polished, just real. "Where's Henry?" Astrid asked suddenly. "With a babysitter. I wasn't sure how long we'd be." "You should bring him next time. I could teach him about dinosaurs, too." Next time, the casual assumption that there would be a next time made Serena's heart skip. "He's only 7 months old. I don't think he'd understand." "That's okay. You have to start education early. My dad says it's never too soon to learn." Nathan grinned. "I was talking about teaching you to tie your shoes, not lecturing infants about paleontology." Same principle. They stayed at the cafe for 2 hours. Astrid drew dinosaurs on napkins and explained continental drift. Nathan told embarrassing stories about his firefighting days. Serena found herself laughing more than she had in months. When Astrid excused herself to the bathroom, Nathan leaned forward. "Sorry if she's overwhelming. She gets excited." "She's wonderful. You're raising an amazing kid." "Thanks. She makes it easy." Nathan paused. "How are you doing since the other night?" "Better. I actually slept 4 hours straight last night." "That's progress." "It is. And I hired a new nanny, part-time, just to help during the day while I'm working. I took your advice about asking for help." "How does it feel?" "Terrifying, but also kind of a relief." Nathan smiled. "That's the spirit." Astrid returned and announced she needed to finish her homework before dinner. They paid the bill and walked outside together. The sun was setting, painting Central Park in shades of orange and gold. People jogged past, dogs barked. The city hummed with life. "Thank you for coming," Nathan said. "This was nice." "It was. We should do it again." Yeah, maybe next time I'll bring Henry." "Let Astrid start his dinosaur education early." Astrid pumped her fist. "Yes, I'll make a lesson plan." Nathan laughed. "Of course you will." They stood there for a moment, neither quite ready to leave. "Can I ask you something?" Serena said. "Always." "Why did you help me on the plane? You didn't know me. I was just some stressed-out woman with a crying baby." Nathan considered the question seriously. "Because I've been that stressed-out parent, and when Astrid was little and I was drowning, people helped me. Strangers, mostly. People who saw me struggling and just showed up." He met her eyes. "I figure I'm just paying it forward." "Well, I'm glad you did. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't." "You would have figured it out. You're stronger than you think." "I don't feel strong." "Nobody does. That's the secret. We're all just doing our best and hoping it's enough." Astrid tugged on Nathan's hand. "Dad, I'm cold." "All right, let's get you home." Nathan looked at Serena. "Text me when you get back. Let me know you and Henry made it okay. You worried about us." "Little bit." Something warm spread through Serena's chest. "Okay, I'll text you." She watched them walk away. Astrid's light-up shoes flashing with every step, Nathan's hand holding his daughter's tight. And for the first time since Henry was born, Serena felt like maybe, just maybe, she wasn't completely alone anymore. That night, Henry went down easy. 1 bottle, 1 lullaby, asleep by 8. Serena sat on her couch with a glass of wine and pulled out her phone. "Made it home. Henry's asleep. Thank you for today. Astrid is incredible." Nathan's response came fast. "She really liked you, asked if you could come to her science fair next month. No pressure, obviously." Serena typed back before she could overthink it. "I'd love to. Send me the details." Really? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "This is going to sound crazy, but I'm really glad your baby cried on that plane." Serena smiled at her phone. "Me too." "Good. Now get some sleep. You've earned it." "You too." And Nathan. "Yeah. Thank you for everything, for helping me, for not judging me, for just being kind when I needed it most." "Anytime, Serena. I mean that." She put her phone down and looked around her penthouse, the floor-to-ceiling windows, the expensive furniture, the view that cost millions. It all felt less empty than it had a week ago, because somewhere in the city a firefighter and his daughter were probably eating dinner and talking about dinosaurs and living a life full of love instead of luxury. and Serena realized she wanted that more than any deal she'd ever closed. The Ice Queen was melting, and for the first time in her life, Serena Callahan wasn't afraid of what she might become when all the ice was gone. Over the next 3 weeks, Nathan became part of Serena's life in ways she hadn't expected. It started small. Text messages at midnight when Henry wouldn't sleep, photos of Astrid's latest dinosaur drawings, questions about whether projectile vomit was normal or emergency room urgent. Then it grew. Nathan showed up at her office one Tuesday with coffee and bagels because she'd mentioned skipping breakfast 3 days in a row. "You can't run on empty," he said, setting the bag on her desk, while her assistant gaped from the doorway. "How did you even get past security?" Serena asked. "Told them I was delivering a package. Wasn't technically lying." He grinned. "Now eat. You look like you haven't slept in a week." 4 days, actually. "Serena, I'm fine. I have a presentation in an hour, and you'll give a better presentation if you're not running on fumes and anxiety." Nathan pulled out a chair and sat down like he owned the place. "Eat, I'll wait." Serena wanted to argue, wanted to tell him she didn't need anyone monitoring her meals like a child, but the bagel smelled incredible and her stomach was eating itself, so she ate. Nathan watched her with those steady eyes that saw too much. "Better?" he asked when she finished. "Yeah, thanks." "Good, now I'm going to say something and you're going to listen without arguing." That's a bold assumption. "You're burning out, I can see it. Henry's not sleeping, you're working 80-hour weeks, and you're trying to convince everyone you have it all under control." Nathan leaned forward. "But you don't, and that's okay. You're allowed to struggle." "I can't afford to struggle. I have investors, employees, people depending on me, and you have a baby who needs a mother who's actually present instead of running on empty. So here's what's going to happen. This weekend, you're taking a break." Serena laughed. "I can't just take a break. I have meetings. Reschedule them." Nathan: "Saturday, you, me, Astrid, and Henry. We're going to the aquarium. Astrid's been asking to go for months, and honestly, you need to remember what fun feels like." "I don't have time for fun." "That's exactly why you need it." Nathan stood up. "I'll pick you up at 10. Wear something comfortable. And Serena, if you try to work during the aquarium trip, I'm throwing your phone in the shark tank." He left before she could argue. Serena sat there staring at her office door, half annoyed and half charmed that someone had just bulldozed through her carefully constructed boundaries like they were tissue paper. Her assistant poked her head in. "Who was that? A friend. A friend who brings you breakfast and threatens your phone. That's not a friend, that's a—" "Don't." Serena cut her off. "Just don't." But she couldn't stop smiling. Saturday morning, Serena dressed in jeans and a sweater and felt like she was playing dress-up. She couldn't remember the last time she'd worn anything without a blazer. Henry gurgled happily in his carrier. The new nanny, Rosa, had given Serena a knowing smile when she'd mentioned plans with a friend. "A male friend?" Rosa had asked. "It's not like that." Have fun, boss." Now Serena stood in her lobby with Henry waiting and wondering if this was a terrible mistake. Nathan's truck pulled up outside. Not a sleek sedan or a luxury car, but an actual pickup truck with a dent in the passenger door and a car seat already installed in the back. He hopped out wearing jeans and a flannel shirt, looking completely at ease. Astrid tumbled out after him, already talking. "Serena, Dad said we're seeing the penguins first, because they're my favorite, but he's lying because his favorite is actually the jellyfish, but he won't admit it." "Astrid, breathe," Nathan said, laughing. "I'm breathing. I'm just excited." Astrid spotted Henry and gasped. "He's so small. Can I hold him?" "Maybe later," Serena said. "He's a little fussy in new situations." "That's okay. I was fussy too when I was a baby. Dad says I screamed for 6 months straight." 3 months, Nathan corrected. "Don't exaggerate." "Same difference." They loaded into the truck. Serena found herself in the passenger seat while Astrid chattered from the back, explaining the difference between African and emperor penguins with encyclopedic detail. Nathan caught her eye and mouthed, "I warned you." Serena mouthed back, "It's fine," and realized she meant it. The aquarium was packed with families, kids running everywhere, strollers blocking pathways, the smell of popcorn and salt water and too many people in one place. Serena's first instinct was to leave. Her second instinct was to check her phone. Nathan plucked it from her hand. "Nope, I warned you about the Shark Tank. I was just working. I know, you're always working." He pocketed her phone. "Today you're just being Serena, not the CEO, not the ice queen, just a mom taking her kid to see fish. I don't know how to be just a mom." "Sure you do. Watch." He scooped Astrid onto his shoulders so she could see over the crowd. "Where to first, Captain?" "Penguins." Astrid pointed like a general leading troops. "Penguins it is." They spent an hour watching penguins waddle and swim. Astrid provided running commentary about their mating habits and migration patterns. Henry stayed quiet in his carrier eyes wide, taking in all the movement and color. Then they moved to the touch tanks. Astrid plunged her hands in, immediately shrieking with delight when she touched a starfish. "Your turn," Nathan said to Serena. "I'm good watching." "Come on, when's the last time you touched a starfish?" "Never, and I'm fine keeping it that way." "Serena," Nathan's voice went soft, "when's the last time you did something just because it might be fun? Not because it was productive or necessary, just because." She couldn't remember. Slowly, Serena reached into the tank. The water was cold. A starfish moved under her fingers, bumpy and strange and completely unlike anything she'd ever felt. "Weird, right?" Nathan said, grinning. "Yeah, really weird, but kinda cool. Maybe, don't let it go to your head." They moved through the exhibits. Astrid dragged them to the shark tunnel where massive shapes glided overhead. Henry started fussing and Serena pulled him from the carrier, bouncing him gently. "Look," she whispered, pointing up. "Sharks." Henry stared at the glass ceiling with wide eyes. For a moment he went completely still, mesmerized. "I think he likes it," Nathan said quietly. "I think you're right." They stood there together under the shark tunnel, and Serena felt something shift. Some part of her that had been wound tight for months, beginning to unravel. "Thank you," she said, "for dragging me here. I needed this." "I know, that's why I dragged you." "How did you know?" "Because I've been where you are. After my wife died, I threw myself into work, took every shift I could, convinced myself that staying busy meant I was handling it." Nathan watched a shark glide past. "Then one day my mom showed up, took Astrid for the weekend, and told me to sleep. I slept for 16 hours straight, woke up and realized I'd been running on fumes for months." "What did you do?" "Asked for help, started therapy, cut back my hours, learned that being a good parent doesn't mean doing everything alone." He looked at her. "You don't have to be perfect, Serena. You just have to be present." "I'm not good at not being perfect." "Yeah, I noticed. But Henry doesn't need perfect. He just needs you." Astrid ran back to them breathless. "Dad, can we get lunch? I'm starving." "You're always starving. Growing girl, need nutrition for my brain development." Nathan laughed. All right, let's find food." They ate overpriced pizza in the aquarium cafe. Astrid spilled juice on her shirt. Henry spit up on Serena's sweater. Nothing went according to plan, and Serena couldn't remember the last time she'd been this happy. "So," Astrid said, mouthful of pizza, "are you my dad's girlfriend?" Serena choked on her drink. Nathan went bright red. "Astrid, what I'm just asking. Emma at school says when dads and ladies spend time together, it means they're dating." "Emma at school needs to mind her business," Nathan muttered. Serena recovered her voice. "Your dad and I are friends. He's been helping me with Henry." "Oh." Astrid looked disappointed. "That's boring." "Astrid, I'm just saying, you guys smile at each other a lot, and Dad hasn't smiled this much since Mom died." The statement hung in the air, raw, honest, completely devastating. Nathan's face went soft. "Hey, come here." Astrid climbed into his lap, suddenly looking much younger than 8. I smile plenty, Nathan said gently. Not like this, not real smiles. You're right, I haven't, but that's changing, because we're building a new life, remember? And part of that means making new friends, like Serena. And Henry. Astrid considered this. Okay, but if you do want to date her, that would be okay with me, just so you know. Noted. Now finish your pizza. After lunch, they walked through the gift shop. Astrid picked out a stuffed penguin. Nathan bought Henry a tiny octopus rattle that played music. He's too young for this, Serena protested. He'll grow into it. Besides, every kid needs an annoying musical toy. Nathan grinned. It's a parenting requirement. You're just trying to torture me, little bit. Outside, the afternoon sun felt warm. They walked slowly toward the parking lot, Astrid, skipping ahead, Henry asleep in Serena's arms. Today was good, Serena said quietly. Yeah, it was. I can't remember the last time I just existed. No agenda, no goals, just being. It's a nice feeling, right? Terrifying, but nice. Nathan stopped walking. Serena, can I ask you something? Sure. Why are you so scared of letting people in? The question landed like a punch. Serena's first instinct was to deflect, make a joke, change the subject, but Nathan was looking at her with those steady eyes that saw too much, and she was tired of pretending. Because everyone leaves, she said quietly. My dad left when I was 12. My mom checked out emotionally right after. Every relationship I've had ended the same way. They couldn't handle my career, my ambition, the fact that I wanted more than just being someone's wife. She adjusted Henry in her arms. Marcus left the second I got pregnant, didn't even hesitate. Just walked away like I was a problem to be solved instead of a person. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm used to it. I learned a long time ago that the only person I can rely on is myself. That's a lonely way to live. It's a safe way to live. Nathan was quiet for a moment. What if you're wrong? About what? About everyone leaving. What if some people stick around? In my experience, they don't. Well, I'm still here and I'm not going anywhere. Serena wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that this time might be different, but trust was a luxury she'd learned to live without. You say that now. I mean it. Look, I get it. You've been hurt. You've learned to protect yourself, but Serena, walls that keep people out also keep you trapped inside. Nathan stepped closer. I'm not asking you to tear down all your defenses tomorrow. I'm just asking you to consider that maybe, just maybe, not everyone is going to leave. And if you're wrong, then I'm wrong. But what if I'm right? Before Serena could answer, Astrid came running back. Dad, can Serena and Henry come over for dinner, please? I want to show Henry my dinosaur collection. That's up to Serena, Nathan said, eyes still on her face. Serena should say no, should thank them for a lovely day and go home to her safe, controlled, empty penthouse. But looking at Astrid's hopeful face and Nathan's steady presence and Henry sleeping peacefully in her arms, Serena heard herself say, okay, but I'm buying pizza. Deal. Nathan's apartment was nothing like Serena's penthouse. Small, cluttered, covered in Astrid's artwork and science projects and photos of a life fully lived. It felt like home. Sorry about the mess, Nathan said, moving laundry off the couch. Wasn't expecting company. It's fine, it's lived in. That's a nice way of saying it's a disaster. I like it, it feels real. Astrid grabbed Serena's hand. Come see my room, I have 47 dinosaurs. 47 exactly? I counted. Twice. Serena let herself be dragged down the hall. Astrid's room was an explosion of purple and dinosaurs and books stacked everywhere. A solar system hung from the ceiling. Posters of female scientists covered one wall. Wow, Serena said. This is amazing. Dad says I can decorate however I want as long as I keep it clean. I'm not great at the clean part. Astrid started pulling dinosaurs off shelves. Okay, so this is a Triceratops which lived in the late Cretaceous period. For the next 20 minutes, Serena got a comprehensive dinosaur education. Henry woke up and seemed fascinated by all the colors and movement. Astrid was gentle with him, showing him each dinosaur like it was made of glass. "He's really cute," Astrid said. "Can I be his big sister, like not really, but pretend?" Serena's throat went tight. "Yeah, I think he'd like that." "Cool, I'll teach him everything. Starting with dinosaurs, then moving to astronomy, then marine biology." "Astrid, maybe let him learn to walk first," Nathan called from the kitchen. "Details, Dad." They ate pizza on the living room floor because Astrid insisted it was more fun than the table. Nathan told stories about Astrid's mom, and Serena saw how he kept her memory alive without letting it consume him. "She would have liked you," Nathan said to Serena. "Emily loved people who didn't take any crap. She would have appreciated your whole Ice Queen thing. It's not a thing, it's a defense mechanism. Same difference." After dinner, Astrid crashed on the couch watching nature documentaries. Henry fell asleep in Serena's arms. Nathan made tea and they sat in comfortable silence while David Attenborough narrated something about coral reefs. "I should probably get going," Serena said eventually. "It's getting late." "Yeah, probably." Neither of them moved. Nathan: "Yeah. Thank you for today, for making me remember what normal feels like." "You're welcome, but Serena, this isn't charity. I like spending time with you. Both of you." "Why, I'm kind of a mess." "So am I. Maybe we can be messes together." Serena looked at him across the dim living room, this man who'd shown her more kindness in a month than most people had in years, and felt something crack open in her chest. "I'm scared," she admitted quietly. "Of what?" "That I'm going to get used to this, to you, and then you'll realize I'm too much work and leave like everyone else." Nathan set down his tea. "Serena, look at me." She did. "I'm not going anywhere. I don't care how much work you think you are. I don't care about your walls or your defenses or the fact that you're scared. I just care that you're trying. That's all that matters. You can't promise that. You're right. Life happens. People die. Things change. But I can promise that I'm not going to walk away just because things get hard. I've done hard. I can handle it." Serena wanted to believe him, wanted to let down her guard and trust that this time might be different. So she took a breath and did the scariest thing she'd ever done. She let herself hope. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay. Okay. I'm going to try. To trust this. To trust you. But if you break my heart, I'm going to make your life very difficult." Nathan smiled. "I'd expect nothing less. I'm serious. I know people. Powerful people. Terrifying. Noted. I'm not kidding." He leaned over and kissed her forehead, gentle, quick, gone before she could overthink it. "I know you're not, and I'm still not going anywhere." Serena sat there, heart racing, Henry asleep in her arms, and realized she was in serious trouble. Because she was falling for Nathan Corbin, and there was absolutely nothing she could do to stop it. 2 months later, Serena stood in her office boardroom, preparing for the biggest presentation of her career, and realized she'd forgotten her notes at Nathan's apartment. She'd spent the night there. Again. 3rd time this week. It was becoming a pattern she wasn't ready to examine too closely. "Problem?" her CFO, Robert, asked. "No, just need to make a call." She stepped into the hallway and dialed Nathan's number. He picked up on the first ring. "Hey, everything okay? I left my presentation notes on your coffee table. The blue folder. I need them in 20 minutes, or I'm going into this meeting blind." "On it. I'll be there in 15. "Nathan, you don't have to. Already grabbing my keys. See you soon." He hung up before she could argue. Serena stood there holding her phone and wondering when she'd started relying on someone else to save her. The old Serena would have improvised, would have powered through without notes because she never needed anyone's help. But the old Serena had also been miserable and alone. 14 minutes later, Nathan appeared in her office lobby, slightly out of breath, holding her blue folder. "You're a lifesaver," Serena said, taking it. "I know. You can thank me later." He grinned. Good luck in there. You're going to crush it. How do you know? Because you're Serena Callahan. You crush everything. He kissed her cheek and left before anyone could see, but Robert had already seen. Serena caught his raised eyebrow as she walked back into the boardroom. Someone you want to tell us about? He asked quietly. No. That's a lot of smiling for someone who says no. Drop it, Robert. Dropped. But for the record, I haven't seen you this relaxed in years. So whoever he is, keep him around. The presentation went perfectly. Investors loved the projections. Her board approved the expansion. Everything Serena had worked toward for the past year crystallized in 2 hours of flawless execution. She should have felt triumphant. Instead, she felt empty, because there was nobody waiting to celebrate with her. Her team would go out for drinks and talk business. Her assistant would send congratulatory flowers, but at the end of the day, she'd go home to an empty penthouse and a baby who couldn't understand why mommy looked so sad. Her phone buzzed. Nathan's text read, Astrid made you a congratulations card. She insisted. Come over for dinner, Serena typed back without thinking. I'll bring champagne. Make it sparkling cider. Astrid wants to toast too. Something warm spread through Serena's chest. She finished her meetings, delegated the follow-up work, and left the office at 5 p.m. for the first time in months. Her assistant actually gasped. Are you feeling okay? I'm fine, just have plans. Plans that involve smiling at your phone. Goodbye, Marcus. At Nathan's apartment, Astrid threw open the door, holding a construction paper card covered in glitter and dinosaur stickers. Congratulations on your big important business thing, she announced. I don't really know what you do, but Dad says you're really good at it. Serena laughed, taking the card. Thank you, this is perfect. I used the fancy glitter, the kind that gets everywhere and drives Dad crazy. I heard that, Nathan called from the kitchen. You were supposed to… Astrid grabbed Serena's hand. Come on, we're making your favorite. You don't know my favorite. Dad guessed. He says you like Thai food because you ordered it 3 times last week. Serena met Nathan's eyes across the apartment. He shrugged, looking pleased with himself. You're keeping track of what I eat. Someone has to. You'd live on coffee and conference calls if I let you. They ate pad thai on the couch, while Astrid provided commentary on her school day. Something about a boy pulling her hair and her informing him that velociraptors hunted in packs and she had friends. Did you actually threaten him with dinosaur facts? Nathan asked. It's not a threat. It's educational information delivered with confidence. That's absolutely a threat. Agree to disagree. After dinner, Astrid insisted on showing Henry her latest dinosaur book. The baby was 9 months old now, sitting up on his own, grabbing at everything in reach. Gentle, Serena warned as Astrid demonstrated a T-Rex roar inches from Henry's face. Henry shrieked with delight and reached for the book. See, he gets it, Astrid said triumphantly. He's going to be so smart when I'm done teaching him. Nathan pulled Serena into the kitchen while Astrid continued her lecture. So, he said quietly, big day. Huge. The board approved everything. We're expanding into 3 new markets next quarter. That's amazing. You should be celebrating. I am. I'm here. You know what I mean. Fancy dinner, champagne, the works. Serena looked through the doorway at Astrid making dinosaur sounds while Henry giggled and grabbed at her hair. This is better than fancy dinner. Pad Thai and dinosaur education. Family. The words slipped out before Serena could stop it. Her face went hot. I didn't mean I wasn't trying to… Nathan's hand covered hers. Hey, it's okay. I'm moving too fast. I always do this. I get attached and then I ruin everything. Serena, breathe, she breathed. You're not ruining anything, Nathan said gently. And for the record, this feels like family to me too. Really? Really? Astrid asks about you every day. Henry lights up when he sees you. And me? Nathan smiled. I'm falling for you. Have been since that flight. Maybe before. Serena's heart stopped. You can't just say things like that. Why not? Because it's terrifying. Yeah, it is, but it's also true. Nathan stepped closer. I'm not asking you to say it back. I'm just telling you where I'm at. So you know. I don't know how to do this, Serena whispered. I don't know how to be in a relationship and run a company and be a good mother and not screw everything up. Nobody knows how to do all that. You just figure it out as you go. What if I fail? Then you fail, and we figure out what's next, together. The words settled over Serena like a blanket. Together. When was the last time she'd had a together? When had anyone stuck around long enough to be a we instead of just me? I'm falling for you too, she admitted quietly, and it scares the hell out of me. Good, means it matters. Nathan kissed her then, soft and gentle and tasting like pad thai and possibility. Serena kissed him back and felt something inside her settle, some part that had been braced for impact finally relaxing. They're kissing, Astrid announced from the living room. Nathan pulled back laughing. We're allowed to kiss. I know, I'm just obligated to say, oh, it's in the kid handbook. There's a handbook, obviously. Later, after Astrid went to bed and Henry fell asleep in his carrier, Nathan and Serena sat on the couch in comfortable silence. Can I ask you something? Serena said. Always. Does it bother you that I make more money than you, that I have this whole powerful career thing? Nathan looked at her like she'd grown a second head. Why would that bother me? Because it bothered everyone else. Marcus said I was emasculating. My ex before him said I cared more about my company than our relationship. They all said I was too much. Then they were idiots. Nathan, I'm serious. You think I care that you run a billion-dollar company? That's incredible. You're incredible. I'm not intimidated by your success, Serena. I'm proud of it. Really, really. And anyone who needs you to be less so they can feel like more isn't worth your time. Serena felt tears burning. How are you real? I ask myself the same thing about you. I'm a mess. I work too much. I forget to eat. I still panic when Henry cries sometimes. And you're also brilliant and funny and an amazing mother who's doing her best in impossible circumstances. Stop waiting for me to find the deal breaker, Serena. I already know who you are, and I'm staying. She kissed him again because words felt insufficient. Nathan kissed her back like she was something precious, something worth keeping. When they finally pulled apart, Serena rested her forehead against his. I have a work trip next week, she said. San Francisco, 3 days. I was going to take Henry, but the schedule's brutal, and I don't know. Leave him with me, Serena jerked back. What? Leave Henry with me and Astrid. We'll take care of him. Nathan, that's a huge ask. It's not an ask I'm offering. You need to focus on work without worrying about childcare. I have the week off. It's perfect. You barely know how to take care of him. I raised Astrid from 6 months old. I think I can handle a 9-month-old for 3 days. Nathan smiled. Besides, Astrid will be thrilled. She's been asking to babysit. She's 8, which is why I'll be supervising. Come on, Serena, let me help. Every instinct screamed at Serena to say no. She didn't leave her baby with anyone, didn't trust anyone that much. But looking at Nathan's steady face and thinking about Astrid's gentle hands with Henry, and remembering every time they'd proven themselves trustworthy, Serena heard herself say, okay. Yeah, but I'm leaving detailed instructions and a schedule, and you have to text me updates every 2 hours. Deal, though I'm bumping it to every 4 hours, or you'll never focus on work. 3 hours, 3.5. Fine. Nathan pulled her close. We've got this. I promise. The work trip to San Francisco was both the longest and shortest 3 days of Serena's life. She closed 2 major deals, networked with investors, and gave a keynote speech that got a standing ovation. But mostly she missed Henry. Nathan kept his promise, sending updates every 3.5 hours. Photos of Henry laughing, Videos of Astrid reading him bedtime stories. Messages that said things like, "We're all still alive, no major disasters. Your kid is great." On the third night, Serena called from her hotel room. "How's it going?" she asked when Nathan picked up. "Good. Henry's asleep. Astrid crashed an hour ago. I'm watching terrible reality TV and eating ice cream straight from the container. Living the dream. You know it. How's San Francisco?" "Productive. Lonely. Missing us. More than I expected. We miss you too. Henry keeps looking at the door like he's waiting for you to walk through it." Serena's throat went tight. "Really? Really? Kid's got it bad for his mom." "Tell him I'll be home tomorrow. Tell him I miss him." "Will do. Now get some sleep. You sound exhausted." "I am, but it's good exhausted. I forgot what it felt like to focus completely on work without feeling guilty." "That's the point. You needed a break from juggling everything." "Thank you, Nathan, for making this possible." "Anytime. That's what family does." There was that word again, family. Serena let it settle over her, warm and real and terrifying. "Good night, Nathan." "Good night, Serena. See you tomorrow." Flying home the next day, Serena realized something had shifted. For the first time since Henry was born, she didn't feel like she was failing at everything. She'd crushed her work commitments and trusted someone else with her son, and the world hadn't ended. Maybe she could actually do this. The career and the motherhood and the relationship. Maybe she didn't have to choose. She landed at JFK and took a car straight to Nathan's apartment. Used the key he'd given her 2 weeks ago and let herself in quietly. Nathan was asleep on the couch, Henry sleeping on his chest. Astrid was curled up beside them with her dinosaur book. The TV played some cartoon on mute. Serena stood in the doorway and felt her heart crack wide open. This was family. Messy and imperfect and absolutely beautiful. She must have made a sound because Nathan's eyes opened. He smiled when he saw her. "Hey, you're early." "Caught an earlier flight. Missed you guys." "We missed you too." Henry stirred at the sound of her voice. His eyes opened, found her face, and his whole body lit up. He made grabbing motions, whimpering. Serena crossed the room and scooped him up. Henry buried his face in her neck, making happy sounds. "He was an angel," Nathan said quietly. "Slept great, ate everything, only cried once, and Astrid sang him the lullaby until he stopped." "Thank you for everything." "Stop thanking me, this is what we do." Astrid woke up then, groggy and confused. "Serena, you're back." "I'm back." "Good. Henry missed you. He kept trying to say mama, but it came out like which is close enough. I'm counting it." Serena's eyes filled with tears. "He tried to say mama twice. I have video." Astrid pulled out Nathan's phone and showed her a clip of Henry making sounds. It was the most beautiful thing Serena had ever seen. "Can you stay for breakfast?" Astrid asked. "Dad makes the best pancakes." Serena looked at Nathan, who nodded. "I'd love that." They made pancakes together while Astrid provided running commentary, and Henry sat in his high chair throwing Cheerios. It was chaotic and loud, and everything Serena's carefully controlled life had never been, and she loved every second of it. Later, after Astrid went to play in her room, Nathan pulled Serena aside. "I need to tell you something," he said. Serena's stomach dropped. Here it came. The moment he realized she was too much work, the moment he left like everyone else. "Okay," she said, bracing herself. "Astrid asked if you and Henry might move in with us." Whatever Serena had expected, it wasn't that. "What?" "I told her it was too soon, that these things take time, but she made a good point." Nathan took her hand. "You're here almost every night anyway. Henry loves it here, and I love having you both here. So I'm not asking you to move in tomorrow, but maybe we could start thinking about what that might look like, eventually." Serena's mind raced. Moving in together meant commitment, meant blending their lives completely, meant trusting that this wouldn't fall apart. It meant everything she'd been terrified of her entire life. "I don't know if I'm ready for that," she admitted. "That's okay. I'm not saying tomorrow or next week or even next month. I'm just putting it out there, so you know where I'm at." "Where are you at?" Nathan stepped closer. "I'm at the part where I want to build a life with you, where I want Astrid and Henry to grow up as siblings, where I wake up next to you and think about how lucky I am that your baby cried on that flight." "Nathan, you don't have to answer now, just think about it." Serena looked at Henry playing with his Cheerios, looked at the photos of Astrid covering the walls, looked at Nathan watching her with patient, steady eyes, and she thought about her empty penthouse, about climbing the corporate ladder while her personal life fell apart, about every person who'd told her she had to choose between success and happiness. Maybe they'd been wrong. Maybe she could have both. "Okay," Serena said quietly. "Okay, you'll think about it. Okay, I want to build a life with you too. And okay, I'm terrified. And okay, I don't know how this works. But okay, I want to try." Nathan kissed her, then deep and thorough, and Serena kissed him back like he was air, and she'd been drowning. When they pulled apart, Astrid was standing in the doorway, grinning. "Does this mean you're moving in?" "Eventually," Serena said. "We're taking it slow. Boring, but acceptable." Astrid skipped back to her room. Nathan laughed. "She's going to drive us crazy, isn't she?" "Absolutely. Worth it, though." "Yeah, definitely worth it." Serena stayed the rest of the day. They took Henry to the park, made dinner together, put both kids to bed, and collapsed on the couch, exhausted and happy. And for the first time in her entire life, Serena Callahan felt like she was exactly where she belonged. 6 months later, Serena stood in the bathroom of Nathan's apartment, staring at a pregnancy test and trying not to hyperventilate. 2 pink lines, positive. She'd been on birth control. They'd been careful. This wasn't supposed to happen. "Serena, you okay in there?" Nathan called through the door. "Fine, just give me a minute." Her hands shook as she gripped the sink. Henry was barely 15 months old. They'd just started talking about maybe getting engaged eventually. Astrid was finally adjusting to having them around full time, and now this. Serena opened the door. Nathan took one look at her face, and his expression shifted from concern to understanding. "You're pregnant," he said quietly. It wasn't a question. Serena handed him the test without a word. Nathan stared at it for a long moment. His face was unreadable. "Say something," Serena whispered. "I'm going to be a dad again. Are you upset?" Nathan looked up and his eyes were shining. "Upset, Serena? I'm terrified and excited and completely overwhelmed. But upset, no." Really, I mean, the timing's not ideal. That's an understatement. But we'll figure it out. We always do." Nathan pulled her close. "How are you feeling?" "Scared, overwhelmed, like I'm drowning." "Okay, that's fair. What do you need?" Serena pressed her face into his chest. "I don't know. I just found out 3 minutes ago." "All right, let's sit down, breathe, and figure this out together." They sat on the couch. Nathan held her hand while Serena tried to process the news. "I can't have another baby right now," she said. "We're merging with a company in Singapore. I have investors breathing down my neck. The board's already questioning my commitment since I started leaving at reasonable hours." "Serena, breathe." "I am breathing." "No, you're spiraling. Different thing." She took a shaky breath. "I don't know how to do this." "You said the same thing about Henry, and look at you now. You're an amazing mom." "That's different. Henry was planned. This is unexpected. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's bad." Serena wanted to believe him, wanted to feel the excitement instead of the terror. But all she could think about was everything that could go wrong. "What are we going to tell Astrid?" she asked. "The truth. That we're having a baby, that she's going to be a big sister to 2 kids instead of 1. She'll be thrilled." "Will she, though? She just got used to sharing you with me and Henry. Now we're adding another person." "Serena, stop borrowing trouble from tomorrow. Let's just focus on today." "Today I'm pregnant and terrified." "Okay, then today we sit with that, and tomorrow we'll make a plan." They sat in silence. Nathan's thumb rubbed gentle circles on her hand. Gradually, Serena's breathing steadied. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "For what? For freaking out, for not being excited, for, hey, you're allowed to be scared. This is scary. But we're in this together, remember? Together, together." Astrid came home from school an hour later, chattering about a science project on volcanoes. She stopped mid-sentence when she saw their faces. "What's wrong? Is someone sick? Did something happen to Henry?" "Everyone's fine," Nathan said quickly. "Come sit down. We need to talk to you about something." Astrid's eyes went wide. "Are you guys breaking up? Because Emma's parents broke up last month and she had to see a therapist and—" "We're not breaking up," Serena interrupted. "The opposite, actually." "What's the opposite of breaking up?" Nathan took a breath. "Astrid, Serena's pregnant. We're having a baby." For 3 seconds, Astrid just stared. Then she screamed, "Oh my God, I'm going to have another sibling when... How far along is it, a boy or a girl? Can I help pick the name?" Relief flooded through Serena. "We just found out today. So very early. We don't know anything yet." "This is the best news ever!" Astrid launched herself at them both. "Henry's going to have a real sibling, someone his own age. They can grow up together and be best friends." "They'll be about 18 months apart," Nathan said. "So not quite the same age." "Close enough. Oh my God, I need to start planning. We need to set up another crib and buy more baby stuff. And I should probably read some parenting books so I can help." "Astrid, breathe," Nathan said, laughing. "I'm breathing. I'm just excited. This is amazing." Watching Astrid's unfiltered joy, Serena felt some of her own fear beginning to lift. Maybe this could work. Maybe they could handle another baby. Maybe everything would be okay. The next 3 months were chaos. Morning sickness hit Serena hard. She spent half her mornings throwing up and the other half in back-to-back meetings, pretending everything was fine. Nathan picked up the slack without being asked, took Henry to daycare, made dinners, dealt with Astrid's homework meltdowns, never once complained that Serena was barely functional. "I'm supposed to be the capable one," Serena said one night lying on the bathroom floor after another round of vomiting. "I run a billion-dollar company. I shouldn't be defeated by morning sickness." Nathan sat beside her, holding her hair back. "Your body is literally building another human. That's more impressive than any board meeting. Tell that to my investors." "When are you going to tell them?" "I don't know. After the first trimester, maybe, when I'm not actively dying." "You're not dying." "Feels like it." Nathan helped her up and handed her a toothbrush. "You need to tell your board soon, before someone notices and spreads rumors." "I know. I'm just terrified of their reaction." "What's the worst that could happen? They could question my commitment, push me out, replace me with someone who doesn't need maternity leave." "Can they legally do that?" "No, but they can make my life hell in other ways." Nathan was quiet for a moment. "What if you're wrong? What if they surprise you?" "My experience with powerful men is that they rarely surprise me in good ways." "Fair, but maybe it's worth the risk." 2 weeks later, Serena told her board, sat in her usual seat at the head of the table, looked at 12 faces waiting for her quarterly report, and dropped the bomb. "Before we begin, I have an announcement. I'm pregnant, due in 6 months. I'll be taking 8 weeks of maternity leave, during which Robert will serve as acting CEO. I'll remain available for critical decisions via phone and email." Silence. Then chaos. 8 weeks. That's it. Who's covering your responsibilities? Have you thought about how this affects the Singapore merger? "Gentlemen," Robert's voice cut through the noise, "let's remember that pregnancy is not a disability. Serena's having a baby, not incapacitating herself. We can handle 8 weeks." "Easy for you to say. You're not pregnant." "Neither are any of you," Robert shot back. "Yet somehow we're all still capable of doing our jobs." Serena watched the exchange, surprised. Robert had always been professional but distant. She hadn't expected him to defend her. The oldest board member, Gerald, cleared his throat. Congratulations, Serena. I assume we'll discuss transition logistics at the appropriate time. Of course. Then let's move on to the quarterly report. Just like that, it was over. No dramatics, no threats, just acknowledgement and business as usual. After the meeting, Robert caught her in the hallway. Thank you, Serena said, for backing me up in there. You're the best CEO this company's ever had. They're idiots if they can't see that pregnancy doesn't change that. He paused. For what it's worth, I think you're handling an impossible situation with incredible grace. I'm barely handling it. I'm throwing up 3 times a day and falling asleep in meetings. And you're still outperforming everyone else. So yeah, I'd say you're handling it. Serena felt tears burning. Damn pregnancy hormones. I'm not going to cry at work, she muttered. Too late. Shut up, Robert. He smiled. Congratulations. Really. You're going to be great. At home that night, Serena collapsed on the couch and told Nathan everything. See, he said, they didn't fire you or push you out. They congratulated you. Gerald congratulated me. Half of them looked like I'd announced a terminal illness. But they didn't say anything, and Robert defended you. That's progress. I guess. Nathan pulled her close. You're doing amazing. You know that, right? I'm barely keeping it together. That's still amazing in my book. Astrid ran in from her room. Can I feel the baby kick yet? Not for another month or 2, Serena said. That's so long I want to feel it now. Patience, kid, Nathan said. Patience is boring. The weeks passed. Serena's belly grew. Henry started walking and immediately used his new skill to get into everything. Astrid made elaborate plans for the baby's arrival, including a welcome home banner and a dinosaur-themed nursery. We're not doing dinosaurs, Nathan said firmly. Why not? Dinosaurs are educational. Because we already have dinosaurs everywhere. Let's give the baby their own theme. Fine, space theme, still educational. Serena watched them negotiate and felt overwhelmed with love for this chaotic, imperfect family they'd built. At 20 weeks, they found out they were having a girl. Astrid cried with joy. A sister, I'm getting a sister. You already have Henry. Nathan pointed out, I know, but now I'll have a sister too, someone who understands girl stuff. You think a baby is going to understand girl stuff? Eventually, I can wait. That night, lying in bed, Nathan's hand on Serena's belly, they talked about names. What about Claire? Nathan suggested. It was Emily's grandmother's name. Serena went still. You want to name our daughter after your late wife's family? Emily would have wanted that. She believed in honoring the people we love. Are you sure I don't want to overstep? Serena, you're not overstepping. You're part of this family. Emily would have loved you. She would have wanted our daughter to carry her grandmother's name forward. Serena felt tears streaming down her face. Claire, I love it. Yeah, Claire Corbin. Nathan kissed her, then gentle and sure. We should get married. Serena pulled back. What? I'm serious. We're having a baby. We're building a life together. We might as well make it official. That's the least romantic proposal ever. Okay, let me try again. Nathan got out of bed and dropped to one knee. Serena Callahan, you're brilliant and terrifying and the love of my life. You made me believe in second chances. Will you marry me? You don't have a ring. I'll get you a ring. Answer the question. Serena looked at him kneeling beside their bed hair, messy from sleep eyes full of hope and love. Thought about the flight where they met, the coffee dates, the midnight phone calls, every moment that led them here. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. Nathan kissed her like she was oxygen. They stayed like that for a long time, tangled together, while their daughter kicked between them. We should tell Astrid, Serena said eventually. Tomorrow. Tonight's just us. They told Astrid the next morning over pancakes. Finally, she shouted. I thought you guys would never figure it out. You knew we'd get engaged, Nathan asked. Dad, everyone knew. You look at Serena like she hung the moon. It was only a matter of time. When did you get so smart? I've always been smart. You just finally noticed. They planned a small wedding for after Claire was born. Just family and close friends. Nothing fancy. Just a celebration of the family they'd built from broken pieces. Serena's water broke 3 weeks early during a board meeting. She was presenting quarterly projections when she felt the wet warmth spreading, looked down, saw the puddle forming under her chair. We need to adjourn, she said calmly. My water just broke. Chaos erupted. Robert drove her to the hospital while calling Nathan. Serena breathed through contractions and tried not to panic. This is too early, she said. She's not supposed to come yet. 3 weeks isn't that early, Robert said. My sister's kids all came early. They were fine. You don't know that Claire will be fine. You're right, but panicking won't help, so breathe. Nathan met them at the hospital, Astrid and Henry in tow. Rosa, the nanny, had been unreachable, and Nathan hadn't wanted to waste time finding someone else. I'm sorry, he said, pulling Serena into his arms. I know you didn't want the kids here. It's fine, I just want this baby out. Labor was fast and brutal. 8 hours of pain that made Serena scream and curse and swear she was never doing this again. You said that about Henry, Nathan reminded her, holding her hand while she squeezed hard enough to break bones. I meant it then too. I know, just breathe. Claire arrived at 3:47 a.m. screaming and perfect. 6 pounds 4 ounces, a full head of dark hair, and Nathan's eyes. She's beautiful, Serena whispered, holding her daughter for the first time. She looks like you. She looks like us. Nathan kissed her forehead. You did amazing. I'm never doing that again. You say that now. I mean it. 3 kids is plenty. Agreed. We're officially done. Astrid and Henry came in an hour later. Henry tried to poke the baby's eyes until Nathan stopped him. Astrid cried and declared Claire the most beautiful baby ever born. She's perfect, Astrid whispered. Can I hold her? Serena passed Claire over carefully, watched Astrid cradle her new sister with infinite gentleness. Hi, Claire. I'm your big sister Astrid. I'm going to teach you everything, starting with dinosaurs. Space, Nathan corrected. We agreed on space. Dinosaurs and space. She can like both. Watching her family gathered around the hospital bed, Serena felt overwhelmed with love and gratitude and exhaustion. This wasn't the life she'd planned. The ruthless CEO with no time for relationships. The ice queen who needed no one. This was better. Messy and chaotic and absolutely perfect. 3 years later, Serena stood in an airport boarding a flight to Los Angeles with Nathan, Astrid, Henry, and Claire. A family vacation. No work, no emergencies. Just them. They settled into first class. Astrid immediately pulled out her book. Henry played with his toy cars. Claire babbled happily in Serena's arms. You okay? Nathan asked quietly. Yeah, just thinking about the last time I was on a plane with a crying baby. Lots changed since then. Everything's changed. Across the aisle, a young woman struggled with a screaming infant. Passengers glared. Someone muttered about the noise. The woman looked close to tears. Serena met Nathan's eyes. He nodded. Together they stood up. Excuse me, Serena said gently. May we help? The woman looked up, desperate and exhausted. I don't know what's wrong. I've tried everything. I know, it's the hardest thing in the world. Serena sat beside her. I'm Serena. This is Nathan, and we've been exactly where you are. Nathan took the crying baby carefully, started the gentle swaying, began humming that Irish lullaby. 3 minutes later, the baby was asleep. The woman stared in disbelief. How did you practice? Lots of mistakes. And learning to ask for help. Serena smiled. You're doing great. Being a parent is just showing up and trying your best. That's what my mom said. Your mom's right. The woman's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. I thought I was failing at everything. You're not failing. You're learning. We all are. They talked until the baby woke up calm and happy. The woman thanked them again. Serena gave her Nathan's number and told her to call any time. As they returned to their seats, Astrid grinned. "That's how you guys met, right? Dad helped you with Henry." "That's right," Serena said. "And now you're helping someone else. That's cool." Henry looked up from his cars. "I was the crying baby." "You were, but you're better now." "I'm not a baby anymore. I'm a big kid." "The biggest?" Nathan agreed. The captain announced their descent into Los Angeles. The city sprawled below them, bright and vast and full of possibilities. Serena looked at her family, Nathan holding Claire, Astrid reading her book, Henry making car sounds. This beautiful, chaotic, imperfect life they'd built. And she thought about that flight 4 years ago, the crying baby, the stranger who'd shown her kindness when she needed it most. The moment that changed everything. Success wasn't about control, Serena had learned. It wasn't about being perfect or having all the answers or never asking for help. Success was sitting on a plane with the people you loved, knowing you'd survive the impossible and choosing to help someone else survive it too. The Ice Queen had melted years ago. In her place was something better, someone who loved fiercely, failed often, and showed up anyway. Someone who'd learned that the quietest gestures carried the loudest echoes of love. Someone who'd discovered that a crying baby on a crowded flight could lead to the greatest adventure of all, family. The plane touched down smooth and perfect. Claire giggled. Henry cheered. Astrid looked up from her book and smiled. "Ready for vacation?" Nathan asked. Serena kissed him softly. "Ready for anything, as long as we're together. Always together. Always." And as they gathered their things and prepared to step into whatever came next, Serena Callahan knew with absolute certainty that she was exactly where she belonged. Not in spite of the chaos, but because of it. Not despite the fear, but through it. Not alone, but surrounded by love. The flight that changed everything had ended years ago, but the journey it started would last a lifetime.